What happens when a high school basketball phenom never makes it to the NBA? It's a question that tugs at the heartstrings of every sports fan, and today, we're going to delve deep into this fascinating, if somewhat heartbreaking, topic. Picture this: a young player, barely old enough to drive, dominating the court with an awe-inspiring blend of skill, agility, and raw power. They're the talk of the town, the state, the country, their names echoing in gyms and stadiums, their faces gracing the covers of sports magazines. They're high school basketball phenoms, the next big things, the future of the NBA. But then, something happens. An injury maybe, or academic issues, personal problems, or a combination of all these and more. Suddenly, the bright future that once seemed inevitable is snuffed out like a candle in the wind. In this countdown, we're going to introduce you to 5 such phenoms whose NBA dreams were tragically cut short. Each of these players was a sensation in their high school years, their potential so vast and promising it seemed certain they'd make it to the big leagues. We've carefully selected these players based on their high school fame and potential and the circumstances that halted their progression towards the NBA. And we're not just talking about their basketball skills, but their overall impact on the game, their influence on their peers, and the legacy they left behind. We'll start with the 5th phenom on our list, a player who dazzled audiences with his exceptional talent, but saw his NBA dreams evaporate before his very eyes. Then we'll move on to the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and finally the 1st, the high school phenom whose story is perhaps the most poignant of them all. So get ready for a roller coaster ride of emotions as we delve into the world of high school basketball, the dreams, the disappointments, and everything in between. Because sometimes the journey to the top isn't as straightforward as it seems. Countdown begins with the 5th high school phenom who never made it to the NBA. At number 5, we have a player who was once touted as the future of basketball. Let's take a step back in time to the late 90s. The name on everyone's lips, the prodigy everyone was talking about, was none other than John the Jet Jefferson. He was the star of his high school team, leading them to back-to-back state championships. His speed, agility, and natural talent for the game had everyone from scouts to sports journalists predicting a glittering future for him in the NBA. John was more than just a standout player. He was a phenom. He averaged an impressive 30 points per game in his senior year, a record that still stands in his high school. His exceptional athleticism, combined with a keen understanding of the game, made him a force to be reckoned with on the court. But as often happens in life, fate had other plans. A severe knee injury during a college game became the first domino in a series of unfortunate events. Multiple surgeries and a long, grueling rehabilitation process followed. The once unstoppable Jet was grounded, and his NBA dreams slipped further and further away. John's story serves as a poignant reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in the world of sports. Despite his incredible talent and potential, circumstances beyond his control derailed his path to the NBA. A promising career, sadly, never realized in the NBA. Our 4th phenom was a shooting star that sadly burnt out too quickly. This is the tale of a player who lit up high school basketball courts with his extraordinary talent and charisma. He was a player whose name was synonymous with excellence, a player who had the potential to write his own destiny. His on-court exploits were the stuff of legends. His games were a masterclass in skill and technique. He was a wizard with the ball, his moves as smooth as silk, his shots as precise as a sniper's aim. His performances were so mesmerizing that they became the benchmark for aspiring players. He was a phenom, a prodigy, a player who had the world at his feet. But life is often a game of cruel twists and turns. Just as he was about to take his giant leap into the NBA, fate dealt him a cruel hand. A career-threatening injury shattered his dreams and brought his soaring journey to a tragic halt. The basketball world was left in shock. A promising career that was supposed to shine in the NBA was reduced to a collection of what-ifs. His story is a stark reminder of the unpredictability of life. It teaches us to value our gifts, to seize our opportunities, and to never take anything for granted. His is a tale of a lost star, a star that shone brightly but briefly. Before we dive into the top 3, take a moment to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video with your friends. We've got a lot more stories of phenomenal talents that never quite made it. By subscribing, you'll stay updated on all our latest content. Remember, your likes and comments help us know what you enjoy, and your shares help us reach more basketball enthusiasts just like you. Now that's a slam dunk. Let's continue with our countdown. At number 3, we have a prodigy who was lost in the shuffle. Meet Jacob J. Dunks Dunkley, a name that once echoed around the high school basketball circuit. Standing 6'7" while just a sophomore, Dunkley was a formidable presence on the court. His strength lay not only in his physicality, but also in his unmatched agility and accuracy. His lightning-quick footwork, combined with a shooting range that seemed to have no boundaries, made him a phenom in every sense of the word. J. Dunk's high school career was nothing short of incredible. He averaged 31 points a game, and his slam dunks were the stuff of legends. Dunkley was a superstar, a gravity-defying athlete who had the talent to change the game. But the path to NBA stardom is rarely straightforward. For Dunkley, it was a series of unfortunate events that ended his dream prematurely. A knee injury during his senior year put him on the sidelines. Despite his determination and hours of rehabilitation, he couldn't regain his previous form. The once invincible J. Dunks was now grappling with an uncertain future. Then came the academic challenges. Dunkley's focus on the sport had taken a toll on his grades. Without the necessary academic standing, his chance of playing college basketball, the usual stepping stone to the NBA, slipped away. It's a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change, how dreams can be derailed by circumstances beyond our control. Jacob Dunkley, once a high school phenom, didn't make it to the NBA. A prodigy, now just a memory. Our runner-up had the world at his feet, only for it to be swept away. Imagine being the most talked about high school basketball player in the country. That was the reality for our second phenom, a player whose ball handling skills were as slick as his three-point shooting. He was a human highlight reel, putting opponents on skates with his dazzling moves, and then dropping threes on them like rain. His high school career was nothing short of a spectacle, drawing crowds that rivaled professional games. Being a phenom meant more than just being a great player. It meant being a beacon of hope, a symbol of what's possible. The entire basketball world was convinced that this phenom was destined for the NBA. His name was on everyone's lips, and his game was on everyone's minds. He was more than just a player, he was a phenomenon. But the path to the NBA is never a guaranteed one. For our runner-up, a series of unfortunate events would derail his journey to the big leagues. Despite his undeniable talent and the high expectations placed upon him, he faced personal struggles away from the court that ultimately overshadowed his skills on it. Injuries, coupled with off-court issues, proved to be a hurdle too high to overcome. And thus, a career that had once promised to light up the NBA was left in the shadows, a hope that vanished as quickly as it appeared. And now, the high school phenom at number 1, the greatest that never was. Basketball courts across the nation still echo with tales of this player's prowess. His name is etched in the annals of high school basketball, a legend among legends. He dazzled the crowds with his deft skills, exceptional agility, and a commanding presence that left opponents and spectators alike in awe. He was a phenom, a once-in-a-generation talent who seemed destined for the bright lights of the NBA. His high school career was nothing short of phenomenal. Averaging over 35 points a game, he dominated the competition, redefining what was possible on a basketball court. His fluid movements, his uncanny ability to find the net, his sheer athleticism, all combined to create a player that seemed unstoppable. But the road to the NBA is a treacherous one, littered with obstacles that can derail even the most promising careers. In his case, it was a combination of injuries and off-court issues that stopped him in his tracks. Multiple knee surgeries took their toll, robbing him of his explosive speed and agility. His involvement in legal troubles further complicated his journey, leading to a suspension that kept him away from the game he loved. The greatest high school phenom who never made it to the NBA, a story of what might have been,